Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to the channel and thank you so much for sparing your own time out to check out my thoughts on Michael Peterson's Shadow of God. Thanks to the kind folks of Shudder, I got to check this one out a little bit early before its official release. Essentially, it tells the story of a character called Mason Harper, who's played by Mark O'Brien. Essentially, he performs an unauthorized exorcism. He's an elite exorcist. However, this entity that he's going up with, he did things could be like a mighty, defining all power, perhaps even God. And when I was sent this, I saw the poster, I thought, wow, this looked really cool. I started up the movie and it clocks in at around an hour and a half, maybe a little bit over than that if you include the credits. And when I finished, I thought ultimately this was a movie that I appreciate, try to do something a little bit different with the exorcist genre, which is just being done to death at this point. I felt at times it had some artistic visions. There was some really cool shots, specifically one scene when the main character, Mason Harper, kind of comes out of a cross, and like that just whole artistic flair. I was like, wow, this is really, really cool. But unfortunately, this movie absolutely sinks to the ground, and it's just really a shame because I felt it had a lot of potential. The acting all round isn't actually too bad because you've also got Jacqueline Byers in here as Tanis Green, and I think her and Mark O'Brien do a pretty okay job for what they're given. At the end of the day, they're given a kind of a paper thin script which is filled with ideas and this really big vision, but the special effects absolutely lets this movie down. They try to go, again, as I say, something different, something unique, but with Shudder movies, if you've seen any of them ever, you pretty much know they always have very small budgets, and with those small budgets that they have and have to factor into their production costs, they can never facilitate the amazing effects that I think they try to transpire for on screen. And I feel like Shadow of God suffers from that with that lack of budget into it, because what should be a really cool effect, maybe having you gasping at the screen and being like, wow, I'm seeing something incredible here, this is really like magic, you kind of turn away and at times laughing, but then the seriousness of that moment is taken away because the effects show up as really, really goofy, and in every single act of this movie there is something really goofy to be told in terms of the effects. So that, I think, is going to depend on how you take those effects and if you can kind of overlook the wonkiness of the special effects that they use. For me, it was a little bit too distracting and a little bit too goofy to the point where I couldn't fully take it seriously. I do also think Shadow of God suffers from a few pacing issues and not exactly the most excited and intricate storytelling, but I can also appreciate at the same time this may indeed find its audience, and I really hope that it does, because it's always great to hear about a smaller feature like this on Shudder and a smaller director who hasn't exactly done a lot of stuff in the past to maybe get that exposure and maybe next time deliver us a banger. But for now, unfortunately, this one just didn't work for me, and for that I would have to give it a score of a 1.5 out of 5 stars. Not the worst movie that I've ever seen, but definitely not one I'd probably ever watch again. Have you seen Shadow of God? Are you going to check it out? Let me know down below in the comment section so we can continue the discussion down there. Also, big thanks to all my awesome Patreons who help support the channel. If you'd like to join Patreon yourself, you can from only £2 per month, and the link for that is down below in the description box. Now, in the meantime, if you haven't seen these other videos of mine, well, click over here, have a bit of a deep dive. Till next time, I'll see you guys. I'll be seeing you later.